We just don't see this matchup enough because one of them has been avoiding the ladder grind while the other one has been relentless. It's Dimu versus Louis MT. I think one of many people's favorite matchup to see on ladder. House of Lancaster for Benny Boy, though. Whereas Louis, crafty demon he is, has chosen the Ayubids. That's right. Welcome back, one and all, to Legends from the Ladder. Louis MT with an Ayyubid pick. Pretty interesting here, actually. Versus House of Lancaster, we are going to be seeing the Dark Age Rush opening, but Louis should have enough time to get the gold necessary, so we'll be able to trigger H2. This is still a pretty cool idea now that I think about it, though. Like, playing a rush open like this against Ayyubids, a civ that is gold heavy, usually looking for the fast tech plays, this starves them off that objective. Curious to see how Louis is going to respond. Will it be the Dervishes, so he has his own sustain for feudal pressure fights, which Lancaster have been renowned for? Or instead, it looks like it's going to be military wing reinforcement. I think this is a semi-fast castle build. And you don't intend to play the Heroes card game, but how can I make sure you get the sponsor benefits? I mean, one big thing is click through. Like I always say with sponsors, when we're doing sponsors, a big part with sponsors, obviously I want to see a return on investment via sales. But just as big of a part is the marketing and awareness. So when you see links, when you see sponsors, whether it's on YouTube videos, well, YouTube, wait until you watch the video, and then click through. But with Twitch or whatever, when you see it, click through, go have a look, check it out. In their case, do the free thing like follow their campaign. And who knows, that maybe gets them to come back. Oh, man. What is the plan for Louis here with the military wing? Like I said, my theory is that he's just going to use it to slowly clear the spearmen. It's a very slow process. That would delay you pretty heavily getting back onto your gold. So I assume he wants to try and get aggressive, but I don't know how I feel about this, actually. I'm trying to weigh it up in my brain. Is like Desert Raiders versus Hobblar is an intriguing matchup, because obviously Hobblar do get bonus damage against Desert Raiders, but like a very interesting thought here is that Desert Raiders have 5 base armor and Hobblar only have 7 base damage. So you're really only getting your bonus damage. It's pretty bad, actually, compared to standard ponies. Because standard ponies would be doing 18 before reduction, whereas Hobblars are doing 40. That's a lofty difference right there. So we'll see how Baldamus Maximus, first of his name, Iridius, is going to play this. We have got the stone now coming, so it will be the 5 mana as expected. And we'll just 2x for the age up, so we get to the nitty-gritty of them doing things. Yeah, this is interesting, though, because Louis, he's been kind of absent on the grind for a little bit when he's prepping for the EDC tournament. He's back on the ladder climb. He has the 2nd and 3rd place accounts on ladder right now. Dimu kind of slipped a bit. I don't know what happened there. Like, the rankings, you know, it's been a little bit tough for him to stay in, like, the top 5 or whatever. He's down in 11th place right now. So still respectable. But, you know, it's... Has this been his worst season? It has, if I'm not mistaken. No. Okay, no, that was worse. Season 10, Dimu's Baldamus account finished in 25th. It's crazy, though, because, like, you can feel a little bit of drop-off there, and this is what I mean. If you have a look at, like, Dimu, there was a time where he was always in the top 3. So it has been a little bit of a stinker recently for him. Might be that he's taking more time to scrim, though. That's the intriguing part. I know he's recently moving house, so maybe that has an impact on his availability. But it's possible that Dimu's secretly been scrimming. For him now, though, I imagine it's back to full ladder grind because he didn't qualify for the EDC Masters Finals. So back to the cool vibes that Dimu exudes. Louis, it was a fast castle build. And you know what? It got him the space he needed. He was able to get an outpost up courtesy of the Desert Raider. Culture Wing advancement. Wait, so this is Desert Raider into fast castle as fast as possible. How interesting. I feel like we often see advancement wing, but if you're wondering why would you advancement over just getting the full greed of like growth wing or dervish? Multiple issues. If you go dervish, your opponent's already building spears and whatever. He could probably intercept relics. But if you slow tech, I get where Louis is coming from here. A slow tech up just allows Lancaster to build towards this feudal timing. Remember, right now, this build that Dimu's building into is the big question mark everyone has. Like, how do I stop this? How do I beat this? When Lancaster gets this build rolling, they roll over practically every civ in the game. The mass lords into mass Hobblar spears. So I kind of respect that he's just getting out ahead of the firing line here. Double stables. Should be looking at Camel Lancer beginning. Maybe 15 sheep to work with compared to 14. Of course, Dumu's been gathering those quicker though. Then again, like that's impressive from Dumu considering he's been eating the sheep the whole time. Whereas Louis ate half of his berries first. And what is up, Duel Links guy? Thank you very much for the Prime sub, mate. Appreciate you. Appreciate everyone who's been getting those subs in. You guys help keep the lights on so we can keep on doing what we do best. Hobbler dive in, not going so well. Desert Raider might even get a second kill there, but... Oh no, dude, what was pathing there? That was a curse. Love the turnaround, but this is what we're talking about. He just done 8 damage as technically a counter unit. Just really bad. It's only going to get worse now with the Camel Lancer. Because the other thing that's funny is, like, I mentioned that you have the 5 armor to get through. Guys, it's actually worse than what I said, where you do 14 damage against 5 armor. You do less than 14 damage against 5 armor. So, like, instead of being down to 9 damage, you're down to, like, 8-ish? Because remember, you get the Camelonese as well, so you lose 1.4 damage on your base. All I can say is, thank goodness Camelonese does not affect bonus damage. Probably a good thing they never introduced that change. I remember a long time ago I recommended it, but back then it made sense with how kind of weak camels could feel. Whereas I think if they introduced it now, it would be a disaster. Yeah, especially Ayyubids. I think Ayyubids would rock up to borderline S tier, if not S tier. I know, this is not a best of 3. This is Legends from the Ladder. Our next competitive series will be after this between Voldemort and Tiger. Rawr. So it looks like it's going to be the Billman coming in. Makes a lot of sense here. You're going to need Spearman against the Camel Lancers. But remember, Spearman against Camel Lancers isn't as effective as it is against other civs because the Camel Lancers don't get stunned when they charge. Trade-off, of course, being they have less time. That can always be fixed by cannons. Dervish is now getting added in. And that's a brilliant timing. Are you kidding me? Dumu moves into the base, but Louis creeps out the first Dervish unnoticed. Ooh. Two more Dervishes being queued up. Good reserve resources, by the way. Louis MT. I mean, I say it's good. It's good as long as it doesn't get scouted. And no! Dumu didn't see the berries. He didn't check the other flank, so he doesn't know for sure. That's really important. Louis MT, he's only got 9 sheep. Then he's starved. This is a huge lifeline. It's the 8 stack of berries with the extra 100. So normally it's 2,000 food. It says 2,800 food. Sounds like a lot of Gulam and Lancers to me. Love the Gulam idea, by the way. I think Gulams are, of all the men at arms, sometimes they feel like the most situational. But you're against a fully unarmored comp. So Gulams is phenomenal. Well, I say that. You've got the Lords of Lancaster, but 2 melee armor feels pretty plastic here. Dive underneath the TC. This is the point in the game Dumu's been building towards, the biggest, most threatening point for Lancaster. Choke point hold is going to be good. Buying time the Desert Raiders, but the Gulams are going to be the kings of holding these areas. The leak over starts to occur as Dumu does wrap round. And now he's on his biggest challenge. Billman is going to come in clutch here. The -1 armor is giving him great kill point on the Gulam. Oh, what a sick read. I thought he'd hesitate there, but the Bill hook, good enough. Camel Lancers now having to come back home to defend. Dervish is also getting sniped out, but the Lords are starting to fall. Yeah, Dumu, it looked good at first, but I think it's that kind of false sense of security that baits you in here. It may have began well, but the sustained presence here, difficult to achieve. Yeah, it's got a few worker kills, but maybe not enough to justify this. Relic's coming home, and the fact that Dumu still needs to age up, Louis may have just survived the hardest point in the game. Dumu at least try to dispatch a few more workers. Like that, Louis just trying to optimize. Yeah, he's garrisoning each injured one just in time there. That was cheeky. So he won't lose any workers. Look at those health bars. That was sick micro. I'm trying to think, was that the fastest Ayyubid castle to avoid the Lancaster timing? Really does feel like that. As up there. I mean, a little bit delayed over what could have been optimal because the harassment that came in, but overall, really impressive. Oh, Dimmu. Apparently once more into the breach. He does know where the berries are. In fairness, this makes sense. Before, he was punting into the main. I mean, that's probably his solace, is that he found these berries after that dive. If it wasn't for it, I don't think he'd know where to steer next. He'd be just kind of whizzing in the wind, guessing as he goes. But Gulam's, before countered by the spearmen, not going to be the case here, not with these numbers. However, the villagers are in trouble. Louis MT hemorrhaging workers as he rushes up an outpost. Dimmu does not retarget, though. Only gets the 2 worker kills. That means the rest should be safe inside the towers. Louis MT, maybe 1 more worker to go down, but this is still rough. He already sacrificed a villager in production to get textiles. Still loses 3 after that. What's going to make up for it is definitely the relic game. 2 more now on the way back. On top of that, we have got camel lancers starting to reach across the map as Dimmu seems to have lost all momentum in the push timing here. Not great. Handful of yeomen left, handful of spearmen. Not really the same threat power we once saw out of the lad. He is starting to save up now, so he's not going to try a 3rd time. That's a good choice. I think a 3rd time here would be the killer. With Gulam coming, if you stay in this age and you lose another fight, they'll be in your base with ranged armor too. A few workers are going to be lost here, though. Only the double outpost. He had 13 on the deer. Oh dear, oh dear. And it gets worse than that. Camel Lancer jumps in on the gold. Dimmu, that lead that he built up, that he worked incredibly hard to build up. And in fact, you can see on the destroyed value what it cost him to build that up. Starting to fall apart. Now by the workers. Luckily, that has not been scouted by Louis. And both of these players just not scouting the berries that mattered most early on. Major coming. I wonder if Louis will keep the Gulam pump going. Gulam's very interesting now. Like, can get countered at this stage, but it means that the Dimmu would have to go probably crossbowmen. Because you don't really want to do knights into camel lancers. So you're doing crossbowmen, which sounds pretty good in Castle, but the weird thing for Lancaster is they're happier if they can just stick yeoman spears. It's cheaper to blob up, and also has a nice bounce back timing around late Castle Imp. White Tower now on the way, and it is going to be on the big gold. Nicely timed, actually, because Louis was diving into the base again. Only 1 camel lancer, but if you see the build-up and there's more nearby, that's how the disasters unravel. Instead, though, Louis, full hunker down. I wonder if he's thinking about 2TC here, the classic for Ayyubids with 5 relics. Feels like more recently a lot of players, instead of doing that, they've kind of seen it as too greedy. You know, you've got a lead by the relics alone, so you leverage that into a bigger win. But against Mana Lords, it could make a lot of sense, considering their lead and who's ahead is more deceptive here. You have to remember those manas, of course, each one of them adding in over 100 resources, basically 2.5 workers worth of gathering. While Louis mode activated. I think we might see him on stone in the next 2 minutes. The biggest scare factor, as we were highlighting, is like if you do go 2TC, you're essentially inviting Dimmu to go late game. And I don't feel like there's many civs that want to go late game against Lancaster. It's just outrageously criminal the way they're able to optimize economy to get advantages with what are essentially trash tier units. He's still connecting onto the deer. It's only going to get worse if Dimmu stays out here because the boar isn't actually guarded by the outposts. Fuck. Okay, so Louis might be slightly worried about raids coming in down the line. Like, let's just hug the very edge of the map and pretend the world isn't a problem. Okay, so Dimmu, it is going to be Mana Lords. We're getting the additionals added in now. Took us a little bit because it's a slowdown moment. What's Louis' follow-up if this does go in the final age? Oh, that's actually sick now. I think growth, of course. Growth Wing's pretty slick here. Remember, it gives the 10% increased gathering rate in Imperial, which is really, really nice. The alternative is you go Eco Wing Industry and you just pump out workers super fast, but I quite like the growth. Like, it's all good getting more workers, but the better thing is in the late game, being in a position where you can afford to have less workers because each of yours are more efficient. That allows you to balance out against the fact that Lancaster, on average, has 20, sometimes 30 less workers than most civs. By the way, shout out to the meta development and players just getting better at playing with less economy. If you compare the game now to a year and a half ago, there's a big difference in just how many workers people have in late game economy. You know, gone are the days of 140 pop. It's much rarer. I'm not going to say it never happens, but it has become a rarity. A lot of people favoring having around 100 military instead. Incredible change up, a necessary one, really. Hold on a sec. Is this happening again? Really? Textiles this time, they will get in the towers. It just keeps on coming. Thing that a Brit doesn't want to be coming home. Camels. Alright. Would I say a fairly balanced game right now? Once he has 6 mana, kind of. You have to remember, though, that Ayyubids have got a 10% increased eco booster with the Golden Age, but you know, game isn't like clearly apparent who's definitely going to win. So get your gambas in, or your predictions in rather. Do you think Louis winning, press 1, or Dumu's winning, press 2? A nice pull on the board. Gets it close to the safety of the outpost. 2.2k food to work with. But while Louis is complete. Love that. Bloomery really important here. Gives Gulam 2 damage, not just 1, remember, because they have 2 attacks. On top of that, you are playing against a almost completely unarmored comp. Do love the fact that Dumu's been keeping the Lords going, though. Really important. Scales phenomenally well into the late game, because, of course, later in the game you go, via age, veterancy, elite, your units get more health. So it just pays off more and more. Don't get me started on if you reach the point where you've got Lords plus elite army tactics. You don't often get to that stage. I feel like Lancaster's usually done with their opponents in feudal these days. And the game's leaking into a castle a bit, but although, you know, we're used to seeing Imperial in the olden days with the House of Lancaster castle builds, ever since the switch into Abbey of Kings, the kill point is usually feudal early castle. They always have the fallback because Wingguard is just so good for spam and spam. Even then, most of the games, it feels like it's just decided before you even get to the full Unitex. Ones for Louis. Oh, that's a positive. Okay, now freeze if you're just cheering on Louis because deep down you have a boiling hate for Lancaster. It's okay. This is a safe place. We know how you all really feel. Nice idea by Louis, just cutting reinforcements. I thought Dumu would actually be going for an age up. Maybe he's just worried that Louis is on a higher eco count, that maybe he went 2 TC. What differentiates Lancaster from English? Lancaster has a way of just crushing you in the feudal or the Imperial Age. And I think English is more about crushing you in the Imperial Age. So both can be equally toxic in some cases, but like, there's an argument that Lancaster is more so, because at least when you're against English, you kind of know what to expect. Defense, and more defense. The annoying thing with Lancaster, I think, often for people is, I mean, A, they attack and then later on can defend phenomenally well. But then B, the more obvious thing is, you know, you can talk about the passive income of English what you want. That passive income doesn't kick in until Imperial Age with the gold gathering via farming. Lancaster, the really big difference is that they light a fire on your ass to do something early on because the manners kick in so early on in the game. Big clash coming in. Louis favored here. The horseman rotation round the back. Runs head first into it. And now the range mass is blocking the spears. Tries to pull through. Louis, I love that. Didn't hang around too long. Got extra damage in and then retreats. Loses maybe 3-4 horsemen. Guarantees several more kills because of it. Back continuing. Crossbows are in the mixer to counter out these lords. Once they are removed, that's 20% health gone from this army. An army that is currently heavily outnumbered and outgunned. This is crazy. We also do have the Mamluk's Bravery. Remember, this is the one that gives the buff in movement speed and damage. It's a snowball type ability. Perfect for dealing with retreating opponents. Dimu, there's no easy breathing room to be had here. He has got the volley on the way. The synchronized shot coming in soon. I like that. He was dragging him towards the White Tower as a bastion of defense there. Louis, look at the confidence. He says, okay, that was a win. A definite win. It's time to party in age number 4. Dimu's setting up more farms. Maybe able to follow soon. Remember, he's already at 9 manas, so despite the scare factor, food is not going to be a problem for him. Props to Louis, man. The way he played this. The way he made that farm transition look just so seamless for Ayyubid. Like it was never a threat or a problem. Remember, if this is going to Imperial Age with Growth Wing, that's going to allow him to make his villages 20% more efficient than default ones. Enough to overcome the Mana Lords. Calm down here. There we go. Growth Wing. It's been triggered. It's so cool to see growth. I feel like I rarely get to see it. Most Ayyubid Imperial games are Desert Raider. Because the Desert Raider is so good. If you get the Desert Raider wing, you're essentially getting 640 resources in unit production per minute. Because you produce 7 of them. That's 1,280 resources every 2 minutes. It's huge, actually. But obviously, he opened the game in feudal with that play. So Growth Wing, maybe even down the line. Could you imagine if we get the double imp into Atabegs? Atabegs is pretty sick with Desert Raider spam, actually. Desert Raiders is one of the most impactful units in the hyper late game because it benefits from 3 different university technologies. On top of which, having a very useful blacksmith technology. So remember, with Desert Raiders, they get affected by biology, they get affected by incendiary arrows, and they get affected by silk bowstrings. But then on top of that, in the blacksmiths, you'll find this unique tech with infantry support that gives them extra armor when infantry are nearby. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the end goal here for Louis. He needs to reach it first. The push coming in. Dimu trying to punch him. Sink shot. Reasonable, but not great. Not with the dervish there to heal up the damage. In fact, it's going to feel negligent at that point. Kill 3 or 4 units maximum. And boredom as Maximus is going to be booted out of the Arab's base. Louis MT easily able to hold here. Archie just pushing him all the way away. The tricky part for Dimu here, because he had to go crossbows, and this is what I love about the strategy from Louis. By going Golem, you force crossbows. And the reason that's important is notice that Dimu is struggling to kite and edge out a draw at the end of fights. Normally, what happens with Lancaster is you clear the front line, and then you try to chase their back. But because yeomen move quicker than standard archers, you can't catch them. Because they have extra tower range, you can't catch them. They trade out, they get lots of kills in the process. Crossbows change that dynamic. Crossbows themselves have less range, they need to be closer anyway. And they slow down everything about the retreat. Because crossbowmen are, funnily enough, slower than ghouls. Which means archers will always catch up to them. Tech up complete. Growth Wing in with the extra 10% eco buff now. Louis MT already ahead on villager count. Dimu heard the age up, immediately swung back into attack. He's not going to be Desert Raiders. Good reason. There's too many yeomen to even think about it right now. For the archers and the horsemen with elite tech, a pretty respectable comp against what Dimu has here. He's just full range. Sin shot coming in. Nice shot. That's a good connect. Takes down about 6 or 7 units, and that was all the cause of the Hobbler just leaking into the worker force, forcing a panic reaction out of Louis. But now comes the problem. It's the reveal of the horseman. He catches it early, but Dumu does not have much melee line. Yeah, he's at risk. He knows it. Backs away. Gives space now for Louis to go into the castle. Something that Dumu does not know about currently. He's so close to revealing it. It's like you can smell it. It's almost like the fresh mortar. It's like something's going on, but he doesn't get confirmation, so there can't be a dive, even if he tried against elite horsemen of all things. Feels doomed to failure. They are rotating wide now. Drawing a lot of arrow fire. Even though they're not attacking, with a 7 ranged armor, they're wasting all of Dumu's time. That's kind of sick, actually. Like, instead of just hard engaging, just wasting all their fire. The sing shot coming in. Talk about a saving grace there. That's minus 10 units for Louis. And Dumu's like, keep on running after me. 25 seconds, and then I'm going to do it again. I think Louis maybe got distracted as well. Like, we talked about the horseman idea around the back being cool, but they just kept on running. They never converged on the engagement. Louis does get the space, though. More techs are in the way. Incendiaries is coming through, but Dumu is getting ready for Imperial Age himself. He will not be denied. Demon Civ could be about to do what it always does. I made that sound like it's a shocking surprise, considering they always do this. But I think that's the absurdity of Lancaster, is every time you see it, you once again go, what? It would be a win without Wingard. That's the crazy thing. If in that retreat, he didn't have that sink shot hit so well, there's probably a world in which Dumu is considering Berkshire to survive. No bueno, no the case here, though. Gets away with the greedy play. Now, this enables you to go into a mass spearman, or maybe even better in this situation. I wonder if you actually just get a bunch of the raiders together. That would give the demi-lancers, or demu-lancers in this situation. Decent against the Ghoulam. Resist the elite archers well. Moment of truth. It just always feels like Garrison Command is too good to resist. I mean, he wants a front line, really. And yeah, Garrison Command, it's crazy, actually. They nerfed Gunpowder Contingent, I remember that. But Garrison Command, all it done by nerfing Gunpowder Contingent revealed how ridiculous Garrison Command is. For those unfamiliar with Garrison Command, you pay 450 resources to get 8 Spearmen and an Earl's Guard. So just to reiterate that, you pay 450 to get 920 resources worth of units. And you do that in 30 seconds by default, even quicker with Military Academy. It's absurdly efficient. It's as efficient as like 4.5 Raxas with a 50% discount. Why wouldn't you just keep mashing that button? It's been the downfall of so many players. I think it's the... You know, like, a lot of people lean into the idea the toxic thing about late game of Lancaster is the manners. And I get it. Yeah, I agree. But it's not just the manners, it's the efficiency, the lean efficiency with which they're able to build an army. That's just as ridiculous. So you've got all this passive income, and you don't even need to use much of it to get there. That's wild. Louis talked about his ability to contest here, and he's doing exactly that. Look at the food, wood, gold. The moment he got Imp, remember, one of his first priorities was Tithe Barn, so he's been getting the extra passive income there on the mosque. You can see over here. Very healthy dosage. Getting extra 40 wood, 40 food, on top of the 80 gold per relic and 10 stone. Bio now coming through. I don't think we're going to get to see the broken Desert Raiders in this game, just because it's Yeoman. You know, of all the civs in the game, this is probably the worst one in it to build Desert Raiders against in late game, because 95% of House of Lancaster late game is just the Earl's Guard and Yeoman. Oh, sorry, Spearman and Yeoman, rather. A reminder, this is Legends from the Ladder, not KPMM. We've got more KPMM coming up after this. Fitting as well, actually, because Dumu, who's involved in this one, we're going to be checking on who his opponent should be. So what's Benny Boy's way out of the problem? I think Stonewalls is his best friend. I don't see many people stonewalling Rocky River anymore. It used to be the meta. Like, you just get up here and you stonewall these choke points and control the map from there. But recently, I don't know if it's just because people have upped their aggression. We're not really seeing the stonewalling. Because remember, it was wooden walls that got nerfed. Stone walls, if I remember correctly, did not get touched. And it's happening. Yes! Oh, let's go. Trade Wing Advisors. Honestly, we so rarely get to see Ayyubid. It's such a joy. This is pretty sick, though, for Golem Spam, actually. The thing about Golem Spam is they're already a higher base health men-at-arms. They're at 225 HP. So give them 20% more, puts them at 275 HP. Do you want me to make it even better? Because of the army comp you're up against, this is the unit that most often will activate Sultan's Mamluks, which is the one that gives 20% damage increase when you get a kill. And movement speed. By the way, Elite Army Tactics for another 259. Ayyubid, he's going to be at 300 HP on these things. That's like Gilded Men-at-Arms level of health. In fairness, Golems, I mean, they are more expensive, but nowhere near the Gilded Men-at-Arms price. A castle drop, however. Well, Doom is going to get a good hit here, but his backline's now exposed. What's going on? The sing shot. I mean, Louis just shrugs it off. Golem's now munching into that formation of Yos. Castle drop is going to be a big fat L here. Thumbs down. Louis MT, the Archer Mass on the backside. 31 in total. Should be good enough, surely. Stand up against this, especially now with the Camel Lancer arrival. 11 armor on these bad boys, courtesy of the infantry support. They never suspect the Camel Inquisition. I'm telling you guys, like, the camels in the late game are crazy. Not Desert Raiders, we talked about why not that, but who expects double ups on camels at this point? Like 12, he was thinking about 20 there. Totally worth the wipe. And into a Civ that's renowned for massing spearmen of all things as well. Gets the blocker, now able to drop the castle. A double castle, in fact, and for good reason. Wait, did I say Ayyubid and it wasn't? I'm an idiot. Wait, no. He's just gone traders anyway. So it is Ayyubid. Where did he drop them? There we go. It is going to be stable. So it's full Cam Lancer. He's got more Ayubids to deposit, but it's all about the Camel Lancers, folks. But maybe not for long. Elite Desert Raider upgrade on the way. All right, we are genuinely about to see Ayyubid in their peak final form. Trade is bussin'. He's already got 9 online. May not sound like a lot, but what's more important is the castle line. He's got 1 gap. If he fills that, it's very hard for Dumu to dive the trade. I like that from Louis. Just circling around north side. Keep an eye on in case his opponent goes trade as well. Not that he should. Now, that's interesting. I don't ever see this coming out. Siege Carpentry, for those unfamiliar with this tech, is very rare. So, it allows you to activate for your siege units to get melee armor and fire armor for a few seconds. Only for a few seconds, like 10 seconds. It's a bit of a weird one, actually. So here, you can press this button, and you can see you'll just end up getting armor. This is really good at just keeping units alive in weird predicaments. Like, for example, a Spearman Dive onto a Mangonel would do nothing if you activate this. But we never see it looking useful, because the problem is, I think it has like a maybe 2-minute cooldown or something, or 1.5 minutes, and only lasts 10 seconds. Incredibly situational, but for Louis, the goal here is to get every single technology. He's like, can I get a Hissar Academy, please? Just buying everything. Like, just in case, you never know when you need to switch. Camel's knocking the door. Spearman mass marches in, but that's cannon emplacements. Has he got them in all of them? No, they're queued up for this one. Dumu's going to steer towards the trade line, but he's being chased, and diving at castle is only going to make that matter worse. Archer line standing their ground. I mean, there's no melee. As Louis, like, what's going on here? Okay, there you go. He's making room. He just hadn't queued them up yet, so Camel Lancers Ghoulims to return. This is basically the best comp for Ayyubids in late game. Hand Cannoneers are pretty good too. Remember that Mamluk's Bravery buff we talked about? It works for Hand Cannoneers. So the true final composition that's pretty good can be Hand Cannoneer plus Camel Lancers. But the reason why he's chosen Ghoulims instead is specifically because it's Archer Spear from Lancaster. Archer Spear, nothing counters Ghoulims. If he goes Hand Cannoneer plus Lancer, that means Spearmen counter Lancers, and then the Hand Cannoneers get countered by Yeomen. Let's raid the Camel Lancers. Absolute beefcakes will be brought down eventually. It's drawing a lot of attention. Louis, a bit greedy in the center of the map. Harvesting more stone. Of course, because, you know, next up we have to stonewall the entire map. I mean, we haven't done that yet. Remove the burn fruit. Find the 5 kills. I just think that's helping Louis, though. He's overburdened. He's got 17 trays, 97 workers. Desert Raiders may have been upgraded, but, like, he's not adding more in. I wonder if that's going to bait Dimu at all. The real threat factor here is heavily armored units. And we just never see Lancaster doing crossbow mass in Imperial. I mean, it just doesn't really make sense. It's not that good of a choice. This is a race around Louis from all sides who runs the Ford army down. And Dimu, it's now hunker down time. We talked about these stone walls on this map. But Louis, he creeps out with the siege workshop before the walls go up. Well done. Should be able to deny the siege workshop this many workers, though. Yeah, so we're reaching that point on Rocky River. I feel like I actually haven't seen it that often recently. But remember, this map, wood starvation is a serious concern. And it's not long before we often see players forced into the center for the stealth forests. Now, this is dangerous to Louis. If the game goes too late, that's where Dimu has an advantage because he has 9 buildings, giving him 60 wood a minute each. Oh, sorry, 45 wood a minute each forever. Good news for Louis. Realistically, all he needs is food and gold. His best unit comps are there. But it is nice to have archers to assist due to all the spears. Okay, that is the worst sync shot all game. And now the wrap around the back. Siege Carpentry has not been activated, so Hovelars will get their kills before going down. The front line is the more concerning part. Dimu. Is he giving over here? Ah, it's just too many spears. It's like a ridiculous amount of spearmen. The Lords are actually helping a lot as well. Like, he's not consistently having all 4 in the fights by the looks of it, but even just 1 or 2, the extra 10% here on top of the army tactics makes it very hard to clear spears. Shot. Nah, that's a bait. I mean, it was only a few. He could have stood there and taken that. A little bit surprised we didn't do Atta-based Ghoulims the more I look at this. He could get Ghoulims now. He just has to delete the stables, which is unfortunate because wood is a commodity you can't really risk destroying. So it's just going to be more and more camp spam. Could have also been cool to see Siege. You can actually buff the health on Siege Batbegs. This game is never going to end, is it? I feel like any other civ in this position is pretty dead, but Lancaster just won't give up because of the manas. Manas plus the Wingguard is, you know, we always talk about manas, but legitimately it's the 2 things together that's the bigger problem. It's just too lean, too efficient. Ramping nuisances. He set up the classic he has, so he tried for the wing over here. Ram still delete everything. He's got another siege workshop, so he can just play the wide flanks and be really annoying. Because right now, if he just keeps pushing center, Dimu has to keep reacting full force. But this is interesting. 40 Hobbler now. Not just that. It's the gunpowder contingent. Dumu with the Reboldiquin switch up. Reboldi's for the Baldy. Interesting choice, but difficult into 50 archers. It's always trusting the Hobbler with those to clear that threat. Lancers are starting to creep towards the farming area. That might make Dumu think twice about a dive. At least with the full army. The Hobbler, however, ready for the party. Camelonese just annoying them as they run by here. That's the other weird thing. Is like the Camelonese, just a few Lancers, all it takes to reduce the damage you can do here. Even if you attack the traders themselves, remember they're faster and they have the debuff. It makes it much harder to shut down Arabic trade with cavalry. Mainline fight though. Reboldiquins are going to feel bold here, but this is a very weird split. Yeah, that's what the Reboldiquin should have done. The problem here is that Dumu sent his hobbies into raid, and there was nothing to threaten the archers. But props to him. He's clearing the first wave. My only concern is look at what's coming next. Are we playing Ayyubids or French? Because this is starting to feel like a French heavy cav game. 20 plus camel lancers, another 10 in queue. Raiden, he tried to burn down the white tower, but he also did find kills. Look at the kill count. Oh my god, it's never ending in this area. That's why Louis is losing the defensive fight. He split his army entirely, but worthwhile for the damage now done. To move 50 short of pop cap. I mean, if there's any civ that could survive on 55 economy, this is the one, right? But the issue now is maintaining maximum population. I don't know how Dumu easily gets back up to that unless Louis stops attacking. It's ridiculous. He's still not done. Last the Camel Lancers will finally die. But now the Remax into a push is what we're looking for here. Louis is already ready to roll. He's got a backlog of troops. Dumu, if given time, there is a world in which you survive this just by having sheer mass over your opponent. Louis. Just your casual 46-minute piety. Ah, he wants to have the AoE heal for pushes. I like that. The trade-off of having things like Adebegs and having tanky units is often there's just this bigger gap between when your units die and then when new ones arrive. Think about it this way. Like, you take 3 fights and your same units are alive, but on the 3rd fight, they're all at 10% HP. What's the problem there? The problem is you're not having this constant loss of units that lets you replace as you lose, if that makes sense. There's a very big difference between losing 10 units and losing 10 units and losing 10 units and losing 50 units and 60 units at once. Louis loves night type units. I think it makes sense though, because Louis is not playing full production. He can't really risk building production in the center of the map with the back and forth and limited wood. So in those type of situations, cavalry is actually your best friend. And also heavy cavalry in general is one of the most pop efficient units in the game. Nice raid in the back. Hobblars need to be addressed. We have got some Camel Lancers coming soon. Yep, they're on the way across now, but also Camel Lancer raiding again. Not many of them are going to make it through this time. There should be a burn on the market's now being burnt down. Has to slow us down somehow, right? There's just too much gold coming through. You see how difficult it is to kill a worker like this? You know, all the damage they should be doing, they're down to 12. It's a pretty lofty removal of DPS exchange. So Louis takes another hit on the workers and the traders, but Le Shrug? What might be a bigger problem is the fact that Dumu, because of this, just got the space necessary to cap out again. He's at 200 pop. with 140 military units. Still, it is quality versus quantity. Battle of the Zerg and Protoss, which is ironic because this guy's a Terran. But the Ghoulims, remember, they are incredibly tanky. The Camel Lancers as well. And if you spread out for the bad fights like this, it's going to end terribly. Several spears going down, not killing a single Ghoulim. Camel Lancers now mirroring. I think Dumu's just got the worst end of the exchanges here. You know, he's being mirrored perfectly by Louis. Louis sends camels to deal with cavalry, and he deals spears with Ghoulims. Does Dumu feel like he can't win a direct fight? Is that why he's doing this? Is Dumu purposely not rebuilding villages? A part of it is he's just always pop-capped. But that's not a bad thing. If you're pop-capped, it means you're building a backlog, even with 55 workers. So you'll see it go up again now that he's like got a little bit of space. And man, this just feels tricky. I think the other problem is Dumu, it takes a long time for his reinforcing waves to arrive. Still. In again. Hoverlars to the back. Villages in the middle of the map starting to get sacrificed. Camel Lancers are sneaking into the farms again. Rams opening the pass on the west side as well. Bigger army now to deal with the Ghoulims, but I mean, despite the huge outnumbering, these Ghoulims won't fare too badly. 140 army minus 10k value? Yeah, because it's trash units. 90 resource horsemen, 80 resource spearmen, 95 resource archer, 240 resource cavalry, 150 resource infantry. Now hand cannoneers as well, at 240 a pop. Quantity versus quality. The quantity is not that much higher for Dimmu, actually. Louis, he's just winning fights everywhere again. Look at the bodies. It's just spear death, and more spear death. I think what Dimmu was going for here is if he just keeps running this for another like 20, 30, 40 minutes, eventually Louis is going to run out of wood. And when he does, he's just stuck with Ghoulim's Camel Lancers, which is still difficult to deal with, but probably easier than dealing with the 3-unit comp. Yeah, I think the archers are a game changer because the Ghoulims at least become a lot less tanky by just getting the penetration of the spears. Like spears, hard counter to the Lancers. I don't want to say soft counter, but assisted to Ghoulim. Man, this is just difficult though. The problem is the infantry support is huge here. I said he's like countering spears into Camel Lancers, but the reality is that 11 melee armor reduces a lot of your impact, actually. It's like a quarter of your damage just gone to the armor. Camel Lancers 1-to-1 against spears are meant to win anyway. That screws the numbers further. And it looks like the pooch has been screwed on this one. Dumu. Louis has the lead now, and it is a building lead. Look at this. The Mangonel mass is coming. Adjustable crosspass is already in. Dumu looks like he's about to lose full control. Wallop from the Mangonel just to give him the warning of what's coming here. Adjustable crossbars, remember, just turns these into a threat factor to deal with anything. Especially once you get the count up to 5, 6, 7. Another thing to remember here is that at all times, Louis MT has got an ace up his sleeve with the structural reinforcements. It will give him 20 melee armor against these spearmen. Even the Hobbler at that stage are going to struggle to kill. Camel Lancers ain't going to struggle for the kills, though. It is a wolf munching down on the back here. Dumu down to 48 villages. Dumu's like, I don't see the problem. This is pure cinema. If I come back, this is a perfect game to upload. Not sure if he can come back from this, though. I mean, even broken sieves have their limits. It's not like we've never seen China or Lancaster lose a game. More rare, sure, but it happens. Why is Louis pausing? I think he's just waiting for the mangoes to arrive. So he has a permanent solution entering the base. Dumu has out-popped him again. As you'd expect from a guy who only has 45 villages. I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at him. I'm laughing at the absurdity of the fact he's still somehow rebuilding an army with only 35 workers. Like, how? What other civ can do this? What other civ gets that number back up like this? So he's breaching in. He's still not using the ability. Why do players hate armor on their siege? One button. And these guys would have done no damage to those mangoes. They would have been stuck on the first one. Oh my god, do me with the state of execution. New wave is going to have to mass back. I can't believe this. How did Louis just lose military advantage? Why is this civ still a thing? Okay, we've solved. 1 mana down. They're no longer a thing. Camel Lancers are still leaking at the farm, so idle time matters a lot here. Duma does have the military lead for now, but what he does not have is the economical advantage. Remaxing is more difficult for him here. Slower. The quality of the units coming out as well, while being slower, also worse. I give this like a 35-65 favor of Louis. That's what House of Lancaster does to me. Can't write him off. Nope. I don't think there's any other civ I would say that about in this situation. Alright, more manas to fall. Desert Raid is coming in clutch to clear the workers, but TC Fire is on him. He's not pulling anything back to deal with this. It's just the workers. He's getting down to 30 workers at this rate. Hey, but you know, some people see that as a problem. Dimu sees it as a solution. I need more military. How do I get more military? By having less economy. Ah, there we go. That's the big brain. I don't know. How do you break in here? Of how much smaller your economy is, you can't really afford to just hemorrhage units to dive a castle at this stage. Louis. What's he waiting for now? Is he just taking a ram approach to try and break through all this? It looks like it. He's already got 7 more rams queued up. So I would have loved to have seen an Ayyubid for that siege workshop. Would have given a lot more power behind these things. And like you can say that manners are broken or whatever. Like, I don't think Dumu's favored in this. Is it ridiculous with 36 villagers you're able to remax like this? Yes. It's not the quickest remax, but the fact that he's actually still alive kind of tells you everything you need to know about Lancaster late game. Is he behind in this game? Most definitely. Like, there's no refuting. But there's 2 civs that can be in this type of position and have a recovery arc, usually. Delhi, although I'd say that's in earlier Imperial Age, and Lancaster. I can't think of any other civ really that could be in this position and still feel that there's a chance. Can you guys think of any? Even HRE with 5 relics. I mean, like, HRE maybe because they'd argue to have House of Swabia, but the quality of their units as the imp age goes on gets worse. I mean, now with double the military. He's reached turn again. You know what the hilarious part is? He's doubled the military, but look at the army value. Louis is still worth more. Trade line, now looking to be intercepted. Louis, buying his time. Dumu, if he loses too many units too fast here, a reblob doesn't seem realistic. But we've said that before of Lancaster. They've proven us wrong. Raids continue. More workers going down on the farms. More idle time. Makes it much harder to rebuild. Look at the backlog as well. Louis is ready to sack an entire army and have a new one. Comes the clash. And the burn. Well, half the army's not participating. Dumu, no, the attack clicks! The attack clicks! A lot of the troops are wasting time. They're robotic one as well. They're all attacking the siege workshop. Starts to target fire across the right way instead. But Louis MT looks like he's about to take the military lead. Trader's just running through, doesn't care. Like, whatever. They can absorb shots. They can waste time. They also, do they benefit from the infantry support? They do, right? Okay, no, thank goodness. That would be ridiculous. 6 armor, Lamau. Louis, it looks like he may have broken the backbone of this, though. The pushing from Dimmu is not going to find the connection. He's now down to 24 villages. But guys, you see a problem, I see a solution. 24 villages means you can have 176 military. What's the problem? This is how you win free-for-alls anyway. Ridiculous. What is it? Props to Louis, though. Ayyubid's showing what makes them powerful in the hyper late. Camel Lancers with 368 HP, Golems with 260, which could add begs to be even better, is good enough to slay a demon.